Oh, right. We are live, everyone. Yes, we are. And I got all the volumes all the way up. All right. New eyes. You see, when you're working with the law, right? New eyes because you've changed your mind. So because you've changed your mind, that's not the only thing that's changed. Your vision has changed. The way you look at things have changed. So when we go through the day, right, and we come upon a situation, we're dealing with one right now. We'll leave it at that. We know you. Then you come upon a new situation. Same old goes. The law works every time. We get clear because now your vision is clear. Not just your mind. Clearing your mind, renewing your mind, renews the body. Remember this. Renewing the mind renews the body. Renewing your mind renews your body. Why? Because now you see differently. And not just in that aspect that you see differently, but remember this part. When you have used the law for any amount of time, shoot, it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be hours. You have to know that you've already changed. As within, so without. As above, so below. You have already changed. You're no longer the same person. How can I be so sure? Well, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and that experiment that he did, he drew blood from the people before they started 3 days of meditation. And then he drew blood from them after 3 days of meditation. Do you know he found that their blood serum levels changed in every aspect for the better? You see, sometimes we think, oh man, I've been doing this for so long and nothing is changing. That is not the case. You might not see right away that it is changing, but you are guaranteed that as within, so without. You are changing. You are moving yourself from where you were to where you want to now be. So there's obvious a change is underway. But we cannot allow ourselves, even though sometimes we may feel a little bit discouraged. Remember, moods will come and change. Like they'll come and go. Moods, sure. But you see, the law, it is constant. It is constant. So it won't change. Yeah, sure, you might get a little cranky, but the law won't change. So remind yourself, even in the midst of whatever you're dealing with, that, hey, I'm renewing my mind. So everything else within me is being renewed. You are becoming a new person day in and day out. So now when you look at the world, you're looking through new eyes. You're looking through new eyes. Like I said, even though that situation may seem like it is delayed. Why isn't it changing? Why now? Stay persistent in knowing and applying the law. Stay persistent there because, as I've told you before, you are already persistent. It is either you are persistently doing the same old thing or you are persistent in doing the new, but you are always persistent and you are always consistent. That doesn't change. It is law, so you have to be. It's just a matter of Are you being consistent where you want to be or where you always were? That's it. So begin to see the world through that new lens, those new eyes. Look at how, if you're going to look back, if you're going to reminisce, look back and say, huh, I remember when I used to. I remember when I used to be all discombobulated, but not anymore. Right? You're not. You have changed. It doesn't matter how much time you deliberately spend in the law. It doesn't matter. You are now a new creation. What do you think they're talking about when Paul says to be transformed by the renewing of your mind? What's being transformed? The whole being. Not just your mind, but everything else follows suit. Because why? You can't put new wine in old wineskins, which means you can't remain the same old and have a new mind. It's not going to work. So, to compensate, because rhythm compensates, you now become the new wineskin to accommodate the new wine that you are becoming. That means the way you look at things, the way you hear things, the way you experience things is changing on a daily basis. And it's not something you have to force yourself to believe. It is something you just have to accept. How do you accept it? The same way that garden in the back grows is the same way you change. You might not see it right away, but it is there. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. That even though it may appear that you are not changing or not changing fast enough, at one point in our lives, we've either been pregnant or know somebody who has been pregnant. Let me tell you something, 10 months is a long time. It is. But we know what we know, don't we? We can't see it come together, but we know that it is because every stage is different. You go from the stage of not feeling the baby to all of a sudden, yikes, those are my ribs, child, stop kicking them. It is all a phase because we're consistently moving from where we are to where we want to be. So now when you look at the world through your new eyes, you know that you are not the same. You are a new creation. You are. It's not something that, again, you have to force yourself to believe. Accept it. You don't know how that snowflake falls if you are in winter. You don't know how it falls. You just know that it does. But you accept winter, do you not? Grudgingly, I do accept it, but it is there. So that's why I'm telling you today, embrace your new outlook. Embrace the way you are becoming. Sometimes it can be surprising. Sometimes. Because that's how we are at times. When you say, really? I did that? That really happened? Well, yes, it did because you were deliberate about it. So why be surprised? There aren't any surprises in the law because every cause has its effect and every effect its cause. But know this, you are a new creation. So you have new ears, new eyes, a new way of speaking. Simply begin to embrace it and accept it. Oh, but Angela, nothing's ever worked for me before. Funny thing, the law is always on. So it has always worked. It either worked the way you want it to, or it worked the way it always worked. So today, when you look at the world through your new eyes and your new attitude, begin to embrace the fact that you are a new creation. You are a new creation. So that means those conversations that you have, that you whisper to yourself, those are new. They are new. I want you to grasp it this morning. There's no need to doubt it. Remember what doubt is. Doubt is just simply telling you, man, you already believe something else. And to work your way through doubt is not to fight against it. What is it telling you that you already believe? Now you remind yourself of what actually is. You come to yourself with the facts every time. And what is the fact? The fact is the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. As above, so below. As within, so without. Everything vibrates. It's moving. You cannot remain still. You have to move yourself from where you are to where you want to be in a very beautiful rhythm, an ebb and a flow. Because every cause has its effect and every effect its cause. A projection of your intention. What is your intention? Do you know what it is? What do you intend to happen? You know, we call it free will. Yeah, that's you deciding what you want, being deliberate about what you want to experience. And you already know that all things are possible. They are. There's no no guessing about it. So take the time today to accept that you now have new eyes, a new way of seeing the world. Accept it. Because the change is occurring. The change is occurring. As I said, if you want to get frustrated about it and think that it's no, and you want to cry about that, go outside. Why go outside? Because day becomes night. Night becomes day. It is inevitable. So do you. You become. We are always in a state of becoming. I wonder why. Because everything is moving from where it is now to where it's going. So when you see the world, look at it differently. If you're in it right now, you say, oh man, I don't like this situation. Get out polarity. Get it out. Summon it. You say, come polarity, we've got work to do. And you sit down and you acknowledge where you are and what you are doing without judgment. Without judgment. If you want someone to see the situation clearly and to make a wise decision in your favor, get out polarity. Where are you now? What are you doing? How do you want it to turn out? Because when you are clear about how you want it to turn out, the person at the other end will begin to see it in the new way. Why? Because you are the one telling them what that new way is. Neville Goddard mentioned it when he said, You don't even know if it's that little old lady in the wine press. She's crushing grapes and her mind, and she's thinking about something, and then someone changes. Because just because she's stamping on grapes and thinking. But become deliberate today. What do you want to experience? What do you want to see with those new eyes? Become clear about that. You get up in the morning, the first thing we do is rub our eyes. What? So we can see, y'all. That's why we do it. Clarity of vision. Clarity of vision. You see, that new attitude, that brazen impudence, as Neville calls it. You're so brazen, you're almost rude. Not rude to other people, but you're rude in the fact that I don't take no for an answer because I know the law and I apply the law. That is brazen. It is bold. The law calls you to see yourself as what? Bold. You're not a coward. The law doesn't make cowards. It makes bold people. You have to be bold. Why? Because you don't look at the mountain and go, "Huh, please move. Please fall into the ocean." No, you look at that mountain and you say, "I stand here and I command you to move and fall into the ocean." That's what you do. And even though it might sound weird to your new ears, you know that the law has made a bold person out of you. And all it is asking you is, what do you want to experience? That's what it's asking. That is what it is asking you to do. So that you continually see the world through new eyes. It doesn't matter how far you can see. Remember when God was presenting Lot and, is it Abraham? Yeah. Or yeah, I think it is. And they were looking out, and Lot chose what he chose, and Abraham chose what he chose, as far as the eye could see, which is telling you nothing is beyond. Nothing is beyond you. It is there within the palms of your hand, as far as the eye can see, and beyond. You can accomplish. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to chase it down. You don't have to chase it. You call it. How do you call it? By being clear about what it is you want to experience. Write it down, you speak it, you take a picture of it, however that strongest sense of yours works. If you hear, then hear. Hear the words you want to hear. See the colors that you want to see. See it if that's your strongest sense. If your strongest sense is touch, then begin to feel in the palm of your hand what it is you want to feel. If your strongest thing is communication, then say the words. But you're not limited. You and I have everything we require. We do. Just be bold and use it. Remember, it's your new way of looking at the world now. It's your new way of looking at the world. That's what it is. So I trust today because it's the weekend, right? It's the weekend. What do you want to do? What do you want to experience? You have to have fun with this because we all know about chores. We know about chores. But if you go with the attitude of, oh, look, it's chore day. Well, let's get her done. You turn that music on and you dance your way through your chores. It's like you're doing your work without having to work, if you know what I'm saying. So begin to live life now with that same passion, that same fervor, that same joy. Your joy, our joy, does not come from things. Because if it came from things, joy would be conditional. But the law is unconditional. Oh, yeah, that's why the good, the bad, and the indifferent can use the law. Because it doesn't care who's using it, it is always on. So use the law with joy because it is always on and always available for you to use. It is not a chore. Have some fun in your life. Well, Angela, there's nothing to be happy about. Have you seen the state of the world? Yes, I've seen the state of the world. But remember the law of gender. A projection of your intent goes out into the world. And the world is this giant womb. And whatever you put into it has to be birthed. So if you put in joy, oh, surprise, you'll get joy back. And where does that have to come from? That same world we live in. So if you add a sprinkle of joy, it has to come back. And there's 8 billion people. So all of the components required to bring that joy back to you is going to involve people, places, and things. So you see, what you project outward, you will bear the fruit of it. And it influences the other people around you. So if you sprinkle joy, they get sprinkled with joy, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is nice. Now, what do they sprinkle back? That's how it goes. So don't think that you can't change the world you live in. You're the whole world. So if you change you, you are changing the world. That's not just something ooey gooey and warm and fuzzy to say. It is fact. It is a projection of your intent that goes out, and it cannot come back to you void. It has to bring fruit. So it is influencing someone because you're not on the planet alone. So today, begin to see the world through your new eyes. Begin to see it. And when you see it, it'll make you feel a particular way. And sometimes, Lilith, when you do something and you are left speechless, and all you can do is just sit there in awe, that's a good place to be. When you sit there and you have nothing to say, That's the best place to be. Because you know what it's telling you? It's telling you that you are now fully immersed in the vastness, the greatness, the bigness, the fullness that you actually are. You think, sometimes we think we're these little teeny tiny humans. We're not teeny tiny. We're not teeny tiny at all. So if you ever catch yourself overwhelmed in the awe, bask in it. Sit there in that silent space and just let it wash over you, through you. Do that. Don't always try to fill the silence because it is already full. Nothing needs to be added to it. Nothing at all. So you'll get there. You are already there, in the words of Neville or Abdullah. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space. Lilith and Jeff are here. Hey, I see you, my Twitter friends. I see you. And I'm looking at YouTube right now. Who's here in the chat? Joaquin. Well, good morning to you. And I'm also glad that you're here. The better man. It is good to see you. Marjorie. The better man says, use the law with joy. He'll apply that. But of course, Liza, darling, it is good to see you. Nexodus, Sugar Visions, Agnieszka, lovely to see you all. Fanbase, who's here? Zeesty, Nai is here. Cassie is here. Ali is here. Sugar Visions in my two places at once. Girl, you know I love you. Projection. This is Delight. Hello. Hello, Delight. My melanin coach, comrade, Summer Rose, Oracle Treehouse, Zola. You know I didn't say Yolanda. I didn't say her beautiful name this morning. Listen. Think about if you have kids, right? If you don't, it's all right. You know somebody that does. You know when you ask them to clean up their room and they drag their bodies like dun 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 dun. Is that how you want to live your life? So when you apply joy to the situation, you get a spring in your step. That's what happens to you. That is such a fantastic place to be. And listen, it's not the joy that says fake happiness, you got to pretend. No, 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 no. You know where that joy comes from? That joy unspeakable and full of glory. Do you know where it comes from? It comes from knowing that when you call it, it has to come. When you call those things that are not as though they were, they become. That's where the joy comes from. It comes from knowing what you know. It comes from knowing. And for me, one of the ways that really helped me to grasp the law, not only in its simplicity, but in its inevitability, was gardening. I have no control other than to prepare that space. I can't make it rain. Although, with the law, all things are possible. right? But I go out there and I decide what I want to plant. And I put the seeds in the ground, and I'm excited. I'm excited. And I'm like, ooh, look at my little sprouts. Because it's exciting. You get to watch and partake in every stage of life. That's what helped me to grasp the fact that I have to do the same thing in my mind. How did I get this garden? I looked out there and I said, that's a nice corner. I'm going to use that. And I did a little bit of research to see which plants would do well in that shady area. It's cool. It's not too hot. Who likes that? And I chose them accordingly. So then I said to myself, well, how do I put that into my mind? Where am I now? What am I doing? That's the kind of soil that I've got, the shady area. I say, okay, what do I want now? What do I want to put in here? What do I want to put in my mind? I want to put things into my mind, things that I see, hear, taste, touch, smell. I want to put those things into my mind because they add to me. I can feed off of them. I can store them up so that I am never in a place where I don't have enough. And that's what helped me to comprehend that the garden in the yard is the equivalent of the garden in my mind. So I had to know what seeds I wanted to plant because I wanted to know what harvest I wanted to bring in. So I had to plant accordingly. And sunshine and rain and fertilizer had to be my thoughts and the way I spoke to myself. That's what it had to be. Because when you put fertilizer on, what are you doing? Maximizing the potential of your harvest. So the way I speak to myself has to maximize my output and get the most and the best out of me. So when I speak to myself, that's the fertilizer. Oh, we got weeds? What are those weeds? Oh, really? Oh, you think you're special? Oh, girl, please. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Those are weeds. You pluck those bad boys out. Pluck them out. Why? The art of mental transmutation, which means when you pluck the weeds, shred them and put them back into the garden. Why? Fertilizer. They keep the soil cool, especially if it's a hot area. So what do you do with those kinds of thoughts? You see them for what they are, that they're just somebody's projection of who they are. And you turn it around and you say, I see what that is. And now you use it to benefit yourself, which means you don't allow it to break you. You just saw it for what it is. You've neutralized it. So now, because you've neutralized it, you can use that energy to do whatever you want. So that is how gardening helped me to apply the law of correspondence. As above, so below. So as above in my mind is how my garden is on the outside, below. So your new eyes today, when you use them, see the possibilities, which means if you know what it is you want to plant, see the seed, plant it in your mind, and nurture it. Nurture it with your good thoughts and the feelings and the sensations in your body. Nurture that seed. That's what you do on a daily basis. That is the beauty of what we have been given. Those laws, I am forever grateful for being given the opportunity to learn them and to apply them. Because think about it. If we are in a position and we feel that that's all we could ever be, the laws at work right there in that scenario as well. If you think that's all you can ever be, then that's all you will ever be. Not because the law is trying to punish you, but because you're the one directing. And that's why I am grateful. I am grateful and appreciative of knowing the law, because it clearly shows me day in and day out, really? This is all you think you can be? You can develop more discipline than that. Come now, you can do this. What is it that you want? Always in my corner cheering me on. That's what the law is doing for you if you want to give the law a personality. That's what I'm saying to you today. So look out into the world through new eyes with a new attitude. You've already sung it, I'm sure. I got a new attitude, right? Look out into the world with that. And know, KNOW, know that the law has got your back, got your front, got your sides, above and below. It's got you. It's got you. You are well looked after, well loved, well cared for. You got to know that. That's why, what does it tell you? That the hairs on your head are numbered? Somebody knows the count of that. That's what it tells you in the scripture. It tells you, oh, look, there's a little bird and it's well taken care of. You are bigger than the bird. You too are also taken care of. So don't fret anymore or worry anymore that, oh, am I getting it right? Oh, yes, you are. Of course you are. The law is designed for success. You cannot get it wrong. You can, however, be deliberate. Hmm? That's what it wants you to be. The law doesn't want you to be right or wrong. It wants you to be deliberate. Right or wrong? It could be relative. Hmm? But are you deliberate? Be deliberate and see the world in a new way today. You know what way you're seeing it? You know how in the Matrix, and he sees it. He sees the code now in the hallway. See the world based upon what you now know. You know the law. See the world through those eyes of the law. Because that allows us to be bold. It allows us to call those things that are not as though they were and have them become. You can do this. Step one, know what it is that you want. Be as clear as possible. Be as clear as possible. Why? Because when you are clear, whatever comes back now due to that clarity, you won't have to do it again, or you just want to do it. Yeah, that's it. You want to just get it done. So take the time and mentally prepare yourself. to be clear about what it is that you want. That is step one. Step two is going to make you feel a particular way in your body. Ooh, yes, it will. And you know how we are as people? We like to rehearse what we're going to say, don't we? We love to rehearse how we're going to behave. Well, then, rehearse. What would it be like if you had that thing? Begin to rehearse it. Well, who would you tell first? Who was the one that would gossip about you first when they heard about your success? Yeah, begin to rehearse. And when you rehearse, again, you're not faking your way through anything. You are rehearsing. Actors don't fake it, they rehearse until they get it so they can convince you of what you're looking at. Do you hear it? They're not trying to fool you, they're trying to convince you of something. That what you are experiencing is real. This is why Neville Goddard says, until it takes on the tones of reality. Begin to rehearse that small scene. What's the first thing you would hear? If the first thing you would hear is, girl, no way, you did that. If that's the first thing then rehearse how you would react to hearing it. Rehearse it and see how it makes you feel inside your body. And just keep rehearsing it. Because we go from rehearsing to actually performing. The director goes, action. And that means the experience is there. You get up in the morning and you remind yourself, oh, snap, I planted that seed. Am I ready for it? Do I have everything I need? Am I ready for this? Because you don't want to be caught unawares, y'all. You don't want to be 5 foolish virgins. You want to be the 5 wise. So prepare yourself for your creation to come to you. A little more oil in my lamp to keep it burning. That's what you need. That's what the 5 wise virgins did. They carried extra oil. They prepared themselves. You know you are creating something. Well, then prepare yourself for it. You got to do it in the yard. Are you going to press those flowers? Are you going to make rose water? Plan what you're going to do with that before you even plant your garden. Because what are you going to do with all those roses? Yeah, make some beautiful fragrant rose water. You can even press the leaves. Indeed, you can make beautiful potpourri. Prepare yourself for your harvest. And that's what you're doing when you rehearse what it feels like in your body, hearing somebody, seeing somebody. That's what you're doing. And we're out here in these streets talking about, I want to be a master manifester. You are already a master manifester. How do you think the day that you live unfolds? Because you are manifesting it. But the key is to be deliberate. Step 1, know what you want. Step 2, what's it feel like? And step 3, prepare yourself. You will know how to prepare yourself because there aren't any coincidences. You will either hear, go somewhere, call this person, buy this, do that. All those things are in preparation. An opportunity presents itself seemingly out of thin air, and you go, oh, really? How synchronistic. It is law. But you don't contradict yourself. Nothing will bring confusion to you faster than being contradictory. How do you contradict yourself? You are telling yourself, look, these things are happening to me. I'm growing and I'm changing. And then all of a sudden you want to have a memory that says, but you've done this before and it didn't work. What makes you think it will work now? And you sit there and you entertain foolishness. And you say, oh my God, you're right. Who am I trying to kid? I'll always be the same. That is being contradictory. The law is not asking you to contradict yourself. It is asking you to correspond. As above, so below. As within, so without. So if you say you're an orange, if I squeeze you a little bit, I shouldn't get tomato juice. I should get orange juice because that's what you say you are. So the law is asking you to correspond with who you say you are, not contradict. So the words that you say, you whisper them to yourself. They better be words of correspondence. And how do you have words of correspondence? By preparing yourself. Okay, what would I be doing now? What kind of attitude would I have if I were this person I wanted to be? Begin to foster that attitude now. Because that's what you'd be behaving like anyway. So you're going to wait till you get there to start behaving like it? No, don't be caught unawares. Begin to behave. Have the mental attitude like it now. Because that's the seed that you have planted and it is growing. You are renewing your mind and thus the eyes are renewed also. That is your word today. That's your word today. I trust that you will go out there this weekend. Sherman Helmsley, you remember who he is? Jefferson, moving on up. Yeah, him. He had the coolest walk there was. I just loved him. Right? And have a new swagger. Carry yourself in a new way. Because if that's the way you're going to be carrying yourself when you, quote unquote, bring in your harvest, well, have that new attitude now. Because it prevents you, your new attitude will prevent you from worrying and fretting and tapping your foot. Are we there yet? You're busy with preparations. You don't have the time. You don't have time to fret and worry about, are we there yet? So spend your time in preparation of yourself so that you can accommodate your harvest when it comes in. Because when the harvest comes in, it always comes in how? Abundantly. You're going to have so much. What's the scripture tell you? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So you want to be prepared for that so that nothing goes to waste. And we prepare ourselves by practicing our new attitude. The new attitude. That's what you practice. So if that new attitude means you have more self-respect, which means the way you speak to yourself is not derogatory, great. You know why? Because somebody is not going to come along and speak to you in a derogatory way because you no longer do that. That's how you prepare yourself for the life you say you are creating. You're building your boundary. That's what you're doing. You're not just sitting there idly. No, you are in preparation of your harvest. So you have to see the harvest with those new eyes of yours. Now I'm done because, let me get the bowl. Let me get the bowl. So, oh, hey, girl. I don't know if you guys heard that, but she's spreading them wings, this girl. Hey, Nicole, Jeff. Lilith has, I guess she's got to get that boy off to school because it's that time again, isn't it? Anywho, let me get this bowl. It's interesting that water played the whole way through, but I don't even know if you guys could hear that. Anywho, Make sure the volumes are all up so that we can hear. And here we go. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to you, Jeff, Nicole, Lilith, Cuddles. I see you all here on Twitter. Much love to you. Enjoy the beautiful weekend. Twitter is closed. Agnieszka, Sugar Visions, Nexus, Liza, The Better Man, Marjorie, Joaquin. Thank you all for being here, as well as the others who have not made themselves known in the chat. Thank you for being here. Much love to you all, YouTube and Facebook.